This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
And this is Mike, and you can find me at I am Mike White on Twitter.
And this is ObsessiveViewer.com's The Obsessive Viewer Podcast. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Obsessive Viewer Podcast. We're a weekly movie and TV podcast that covers a specific topic, be it genre, trope, movie, or show each episode. You can find back episodes at ovpodcast.com. And this week we're talking about favorite college movies with our friend and frequent guest, Robert Fekkes. Hi, Fekkes.
Hello. Hello. Good to be back again.
Yes, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Going great.
It's another momentous episode because we're recording in the new studio.
We are, yes.
I'm not me.
Right.
It's just a regular episode for me, so whatever, guys.
Should have done it in the backyard then. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Have we christened christened the new studios with a name yet?
No, I was thinking like Obsessive Studios or Obsessive Viewer Studio or Matt Hurt Studio or
all about Matt Hurt.
all about or I'm here all alone. No, we're recording from my new apartment. Yeah. So hopefully the sound quality is fine. I was playing with some ideas on how to
How about the Animal House? Animal House Studios.
Oh, it's so topical.
Right, considering the first episode.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one, Mike. Tiny, we're going to have to talk to
Something with university or college or something like that?
university or college.
Something.
Yeah. or Obsessive Studios.
Sound really confident.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll think of something. It's not. The tragedy is I'll never come up with anything as
It has to be clever.
Turbo Studios. Exactly.
It's got to be class.
Yeah, like my Wi-Fi is the Swan Station from Lost, because much like the Swan Station, I'm just a guy in here alone with a computer, pretty much. Little Lost reference for our listeners there.
Yeah.
But anyway, Fekkes, thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely.
And before we get started on the actual topic, I want to just mention that you can see us at Indy PopCon in Indianapolis, unless everyone in Indiana leaves. It's June 26th to the 28th. We've got a booth. We're going to have live recording, and there's going to be a lot of fun stuff in the works for it. And I didn't write down the note that I made for just announced. All right.
Okay.
So favorite college movies. What do you guys think?
Great topic. Such an iconic coming of age movie category.
Right? And the only reason that I wanted us to do college movies this one is because it's OV101. Right.
So clever.
I hate myself that I love that so much.
That is thank you, every girl that I've ever dated.
What's so cool about college movies, though, is that a lot of times, I think we do really well with our topics, and I think we find, movies that fit our topics, and we always have interesting things to say about them. But what I like about the college movies thing is that it's such a specific genre. There are, of course, movies that we could stretch, movies that are just happen to be set in college. But what I like about these is I'm pretty sure most of the movies we're going to be talking about are about the college experience, and so that's pretty topical, pretty cool.
Absolutely, and it's also I like these episodes these selections because it's not only about the college experience, but it's about different levels of it, like different age ranges and their kind of experience with college, like into adulthood and kind of going into different, some of them kind of demented and crappy. Anyway,
there is a long list of terrible, terrible college films out there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And all four of us went to college.
Right.
At least a little.
Yes. I just had to count four of us. That's why I didn't finish college.
Hey, I'm with you. I didn't finish either.
Oh, no.
Still working.
Yeah. So two out of 4 isn't.
Two of us met in college.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me and Mike met in college. Everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun times.
Fekkes and I have known each other the longest, though.
That is true. St. Christopher's.
Yep.
You guys can
Whatever. Moving on.
There was just a stretch of like 20 years where we didn't see each other.
That is, well, you don't have to put that in there. Jesus. That's what she said.
God.
I also like how the college film terribly mars your impression of what college is going to be. If you see any of these films before college, you're just going to be completely devastated about your college experience, which is fine to begin with, but it's nowhere near what I expected out of the classic movies.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for an hour and a half of dudes sitting in a room playing Halo.
Oh, right? God.
Or the 4 classes you have to go to. One of them is at 7 in the morning and one's at 6 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And all the studying in between.
Oh, college.
God, I did no studying. I had an Xbox.
Yeah.
I did no studying. I bought an Xbox. So let's get into the topic actually. So Fekkes, since you are oh my God, since you are our guest.
So you majored in English, right?
I actually majored in journalism. God damn it. Since you are our guest, why don't you kick us off with your first selection?
Sure. My first selection, I'm starting off with 22 Jump Street. It is obviously came out last year and wouldn't strike you as so much of a college movie at first, but I feel like the movie does a fantastic job of actually demonstrating kind of the iconic college experience, more so than it does the college experience, which is great because it's 22 Jump Street to begin with is very self-aware, making fun of its own genre and itself as a sequel, and it does a great job of actually making fun of the different types of college experiences you see in all the college movies too. Via the frat house, the parties, the walk of shame, even the nerd groups. One of my favorite parts of the whole movie is the poetry slam portion. It's horrible to watch.
It's
I remember,
very cringeworthy.
Right, and it's one of those points in the film where me and my wife went to go see it, and she had to bury her face in my arm just 'cause, like, it's terrible to watch.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious. I was crying. It also does spring break. It really brings up the spring break portion of it too, which again is not what real college spring break tends to be, but it's fantastic. I love the interactions between
Jonah
Hill?
The what?
Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill, yes. Jonah Hill and his girlfriend's roommate.
Oh my
Yes.
God,
About
that's
how
so funny.
Every 5 seconds is another "you're old" joke,
Yeah.
and it pretty much boils down to at one point she's just like, "You're old. You're so f***ing old," and it's fantastic.
I love the part where he's like, no, I'm a college freshman. I'm 19, and she's like, 19 minutes late for pinochle.
Oh,
So
that's
funny.
great. I tried to dig out my my Blu-ray of that. I don't even know if I own that on Blu-ray now that I think about it, because I wanted to watch it in preparation for this, but I
Probably would have been hard for you to find it then if you didn't own it.
exactly.
Okay.
Well, I tried to anyway. Yeah. So, Mike, what'd you think of 22 Jump Street?
Yeah, I love 22 Jump Street. I love one of my favorite scenes is when it's just kind of a quick cut montage of them like packing for college.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have like the stowaway hamper.
Yeah.
They have the light globe. That's pretty perfect. That's pretty spot on.
All the stuff you're going to find at the college preparation aisle at Walmart before you.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The twins, the two twins, they're like
Their next door neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes.
they were so awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were perfect.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
And not really. I don't want to spoil it, but the combination of those two characters and like Jonah Hill's girlfriend's roommate, like just their deadpan kind of delivery,
Yeah.
both really worked well, and they were both like each each of them were like different enough that it wasn't too much deadpan for it. But I don't know if that makes any sense. But I really enjoyed those characters.
Totes.
Agreed. Yeah.
Totes my goats. The football stuff was good too. Like the football and the frat house stuff. That's some of my favorite parts as well. Especially watching Jonah Hill try to be the one that tries to fit in with all the football players. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I had problems. I don't even know if I really had problems with it, but I felt like the use of meta humor and when it came to kind of making fun of the fact that they were a sequel and doing the same thing over again, essentially. I felt like that was a little bit overbearing, but I think the second time around, when I watched it the second time around, it was pretty...
Man, I could not disagree with you more.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm glad to hear you say the second time around you change your mind, especially from a guy who loves the Scream movies.
The portion where they're doing the car chase and they're talking about trying not to hit all the things that are so expensive because I was dying when they have to go through the science and technology building. They run into an ATM. Come on.
The Benjamin Hill film studio, whatever, film building, film school building was just that one was spot on for me. I loved it.
I forgot about that, the Benny Hill part.
I don't even think I noticed it until the second time around.
That's hilarious.
I remember trying to explain that joke to my wife in the middle of the movie, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you later." She's like, "Why is this so funny to you?" I was like, it's Benny Hill."
The probably the funniest thing to me, and the humor of it isn't really that funny. It's a really goofy, stupid gag. But when Channing Tatum and is it Russell Crowe's son?
If it is, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah. Neither did I.
Oh, I want to say that. Don't quote me on that. But when the two of them are on the football field, and then for some reason Channing Tatum has a Q-tip, and the guy's eating a sandwich, and he's like, "Oh, I got some of my meat on your Q-tip."
Yeah.
I got some sandwich on your Q-tip.
It's a meat cute. It's a meat Q-tip. That was such a stretch for a punchline, but it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah,
and,
me too. That's my favorite joke in the movie.
Oh yeah. Like a week after that, you kept thinking about it. I was like, that's so ridiculous, but something about it just works.
It's one of those movies where I think it's such a good movie because you can tell how much fun the actors and people involved are having making the movie.
Absolutely.
So it just makes that movie so much better for me. Like, kind of like the Ocean's movies to me. Like, they're not the greatest movies in the world, but they're fun because you know these guys are having a blast making this movie.
Right.
And they're not taking it too serious.
Yeah. When they go to the office or whatever for 22 Jump Street, and Jonah Hill's like, "Hey, Captain, I like your new office. It's like a big cube of ice."
Yeah.
Like, God damn it, so much, so funny.
And Ice Cube had some amazing moments. The whole series with Jonah Hill and Ice Cube's daughter, and Jonah Hill and Ice Cube finding out about that was amazing.
I was so happy that they did something like for a movie that constantly has like a tongue-in-cheek attitude about being a sequel and retreading familiar territory. I'm so glad that they did something so different and fun with that character.
Oh yeah. The part when he grabs the green beans in the lunch in the food line, I was crying. Yeah. Are you rationing that?
So funny. I just liked when Jonah Hill was describing the sex. He was like, "I'm talking about missionary. and missionary. I'm on top and she's on bottom." It's so funny.
You high-fived her for f***ing your daughter.
Funny movie.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. So that's 22 Jump Street. Anything else you guys want to say about it?
I loved the end where they're going through all the future Jump Street movies.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was perfect. It was my favorite part of the movie.
And it's either going to be a total stroke of genius, or it's going to ruin everything if they follow through with this Jump Street Men in Black thing.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
I was the only thing I missed from the end credit jokes was another remake. They didn't do a remake in there.
Oh,
They
yeah,
did they?
they should have. That would have been good.
That would have been a great way to end it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like the contract dispute when they brought Seth Rogen in to replace Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was great.
Pretty funny.
All right. Mike, you want to go next?
Sure. We've been talking about kind of like the perspective of what college is like. So a movie I want to talk about is one that came out in 2002 when I was still in high school, and it's Van Wilder.
Nice.
Which is the start of the beginning of kind of a weird, ultimately fruitless renaissance for National Lampoons.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously there's the granddaddy of all college movies, and then of course I think that National Lampoon hit its peak with Vacation. But then they kind of did nothing for a long time, and then Van Wilder came out, and then there was 1,000 direct-to-DVD movies.
Yeah.
But when I saw this in high school, I loved it so much. It was like American Pie was not really for me. I mean, I know it was about high schoolers, but I was a little young for it. I had to kind of sneak around and get it. But Van Wilder was one where I was able to just get it from a friend. And I remember the big deal about Van Wilder is it starred that one guy from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
I'm glad somebody knows that show exists besides me.
Yeah, of course. I love that show. And also it starred that girl from American Pie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Right? And so they were not, of course, Ryan Reynolds and, well, I guess people knew Tara Reid, but
sure.
Ryan Reynolds was by no means a star.
Right.
But I remember loving his brand of humor from Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, later renamed Two Guys and a Girl. And I like to see how it translated. Mostly in 2002, I was watching it because I wanted to see the nudity.
Yep. I'm glad someone brought that up because that was...
Especially the unrated cut of the DVD. I don't know how much is in the movie that's particularly unrated, but I know that the menu, the character dancing in the menu, which I think is Naomi in the movie, she goes topless for the whole DVD menu in the unrated version of it. So
nice.
God bless her.
So that was pretty sweet. I also loved the Sugar Cult soundtrack, and I was really into pop punk. I was in a pop punk band at the time. I've mentioned that before. And just so, hearing music that kind of spoke to my tastes in a movie said this movie is for me. So I loved Van Wilder. I don't know how well it holds up, and it definitely, it's hard to say about what it made me think college would be like, because it's not really a traditional college experience, because Van Wilder obviously has been there for 7 years
and doesn't go to class and
yeah, right, exactly. But so I don't know. I don't think I thought too much about what it would be like. The movie I'm going to talk about later, definitely, but I loved Van Wilder. Watched it several times. You guys?
I think it holds up still. Not as strong as it was when it first came out, because it was very novel at the time, especially with our age group. Because back in the 70s, people had their college movies, and I guess we kind of had American Pie. But I think Van Wilder really was a cool jumping off point for our age group at that time. So I watched it a couple years ago, and I think it's still good. It's still funny. It holds up. The jokes are still there, and it's crude college humor. So it's what to expect out of it.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in a couple years, or a few years probably, but I really enjoyed it for what it was. I didn't really connect to it quite the way you guys seem to have. I was part of the kind of American Pie kind of train. I was kind of all about that in terms of crude, R-rated teenage kind of humor and college age humor, I guess. But I really enjoyed the movie when I saw it, and yeah, that's about it.
I kind of feel the same way Matt did. I wasn't as into it, and I don't know why. I liked the movie when I finally saw it, and I've watched it several times since. But yeah, I don't know, and I didn't even really connect to American Pie that much either. So,
really,
I don't know. I just, but it's definitely funny. I mean,
yeah.
I think it was also. I think I saw it after. I saw it years down the road. I think I saw it after Harold and Kumar go to White Castle.
Ah.
And so it was kind of funny seeing Cal Penn.
Right?
Yeah, that's funny.
Why is he talking normal?
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird to hear you didn't see American Pie till later. It was like the holy grail of movies. Like we had to set out to find this movie.
Right. Yeah, I like it. It's funny. I love Ryan Reynolds.
Well, he makes that movie. If it's not Ryan Reynolds, then it's not as nearly as good as a movie.
Right.
Totally.
This was right before, like this. Yeah, it was kind of his breakout role, as Mike, as you mentioned, and it kind of from there is when he just kind of went off the deep end on some rom-coms, didn't he?
He had a couple
I
of
don't know
things
that he
in
necessarily went off the deep end.
He did
Yeah, that might be a
Blade
little
Trinity, which he was probably the only good thing about that movie. He had a really good part in that movie, and that was not a good movie. But the scenes where he was in,
got huge.
he did. Jesus, he got freaking huge.
It's so huge that they added the scene in the Amityville Horror where he's just walking around without his shirt off.
Oh yeah.
By the way, it's the wallpaper on my phone.
God,
It's the wallpaper on my walls.
Yeah.
that's the wallpaper in my dreams.
Wow.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Ryan Reynolds is the kind of actor who's kind of like it's not so much that they've tried to make him a movie star. I feel like he hasn't really reached the level of movie stardom that his charisma.
Wait till Deadpool.
Exactly. Yeah. That case dismissed.
I have to. I kind of agree, and I love Ryan Reynolds. I think he's.
Oh, me too.
But I think he's underused. I think there's a lot of things he could could do. And
he's underused. I get he's underused by the big studios, but one of the things I talked about last week was the voices, and so a lot of the like lesser known indie stuff that he's been working on is really, really, really great. I love the decisions he's been making lately.
Yeah, he has a ton of potential in both drama and comedy.
I didn't see it. Did any of you guys see the one where it was called Buried?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh,
Yes.
I heard it was great. I never got around to seeing that.
It's really,
Loved Buried.
It's a great watch because it's just so unique. Literally every single second, Ryan Reynolds is on screen, and you just never for 1 second ever leave that coffin. It's really a really impressive feat of filmmaking. I mean, it's just as a standalone movie, it's good, but I think everyone should see it if you're a movie fan because it's so unique.
It kind of, and this may be more telegraphing where I was in my life after when I watched this when I watched it, but it reminded me of kind of just a kind of similar in tone to like a 24 episode.
I can see that.
And there were bits where he kind of. It kind of seemed like they were kind of stretching a little bit to kind of pad out the runtime.
Yeah.
But I really, really enjoyed it, and his performance was really intense and really. He carried the movie, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of have to.
Or should I say? No, I shouldn't say because that's the opposite.
Say it.
Don't say it.
He buried the movie. That doesn't work because that's the opposite.
Boy.
You're not making a pun because you're
not
just taking.
so much. I'm just trying to say buried.
Swing and a miss.
Hey, I don't mean to hijack and do a twofer here, but I kind of like I tossed back and forth either this movie or Road Trip, and we're kind of talking about this era of movies. You know, the early 2000s to just two. I think Road Trip came out in 2000, but also a college movie. Did you guys like? How did you feel about that during the American Pie, Road Trip, Van Wilder era?
Forgettable for me. Road Trip was very forgettable for me.
Amy Smart,
very attractive.
Yeah,
you get to see her fun bags in that movie, which is cool.
Amy, very smart.
But
yeah, I wasn't crazy about it either. I don't know why. For some reason, I kind of missed the boat on the whole teen R-rated
raunchy teen comedies.
Yeah, from our generation. I don't know why.
I was kind of all about those movies, and even then, Road Trip was kind of just like, all right, sure.
Like it had a couple of funny moments, like did you skin a leopard or something like that? You know, at the time that was good, and I always forget that Stifler was in that movie.
Yeah, was he a blind guy or something with? No.
No, he had a thumb jumped up his.
That's right. Oh wow, yeah. I'm thinking of Mary Lynn Ricecoat.
He basically plays Stifler.
Yeah,
he's Stifler in that movie.
Yeah, I think maybe that's part of the reason.
At the same time, he was also in Dude, Where's My Car?
I've never even seen that movie.
There's some people that love that on a ridiculous scale, and I don't know why. I really don't know why.
It's a Gat movie for me.
I can see it. I can see the cult interest in it.
Sure,
Like, I get it.
yeah.
It's actually the first movie I bought. I'm not of the Dude, Where's My Car cult, but it was the first DVD I ever purchased.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I think with Road Trip, the disconnect with me on it maybe came from Tom Green being in it.
Yeah.
Forgot
Never
about
found
him.
his.
But that was the height of the Tom Green thing.
Yeah.
And that was the height of me hating Tom Green.
You didn't like Tom Green?
I never, ever, ever got his appeal.
I don't know. I
anything.
thought he was kind of funny.
Me too.
I love
a
Tom
little,
Green so much.
a little bit.
And I'll be honest.
Sure.
I kind of really enjoy Freddy Got Fingered.
Me too.
I think it's hilarious.
I know.
Never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen it, but I don't remember.
It's better than it has any right to be.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the best way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll take your guys' word for it.
Not going to run out there and try to watch it, are you?
No.
Well, okay, that's enough of me. We've done my movie too much. Do you want to move on to Tiny?
Sure, Tiny.
My movie comes before those other ones. It's from 1994. It's called PCU. It's a very underrated movie. Like I said, it came out in the 90s. It stars Jeremy Piven and unknown Jon Favreau. This may have been one of his first big roles. And it's not even that big, really.
It really isn't. He
Yeah.
doesn't say much of anything in this entire film.
Yeah. And then the rest of the cast is kind of like 90s burnouts who never really did much.
David Spade, isn't it?
David Spade, isn't it? Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
But yeah, this movie is like, whenever I think of college movies, this is always at the top. I think I watched this movie when I was younger, and like I watched it on Comedy Central, so it was edited relatively heavily, and then I saw it on DVD, and I just realized how hilarious it was. It's pretty topical now too, because it's called PCU, which that's the name, that's the initials of the college, the fictional college that's in the movie. It stands for Port Chester University, but the whole movie is also kind of about political correctness and how the entire campus is just like divided into these little like cliques and sects of people who are just they're just antagonistic towards one another, and they get offended and they protest each other, and like you just can't say anything without being politically incorrect. So the title has a different meaning. It also stands for Political Correct University, and so it's kind of stars these like kind of burnout college people, kind of like Van Wilder, sort of. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Piven's character is very much like Van Wilder. And, they're just these ragtag group of like losers, basically. But they keep getting complaints levied against them. And eventually it gets to the point where they're going to get kicked out. And so they have to pay off this bill for all the damage they've caused. And so they throw this huge party and charge an entrance fee. It just kind of goes from.
So you're saying Old School, the plot of Old School, is a ripoff of PCU?
Sorta. It's a little different, but yeah, it's just a really funny movie. People have their qualms about Jeremy Piven, but I thought he was kind of perfect for this character that he plays. Draws is the name of the character, but and it just hits all these different notes of the people you run into in college. There's the hippies, and there's the feminists, and there's the tree huggers and the jocks and the Republican douches, the Greek people. I mean, it's just like it just hits all those notes, and they all just like conflict with one another. Yeah, I think it's a pretty fun representation of college life.
Sure.
Sweet. Yeah.
I actually borrowed your copy, Tiny, and I watched this last night, and I mean, I thought it was okay. It was the way that you describe it really makes me gain a new appreciation for it.
Don't be that guy.
Makes me kind of not really gain an appreciation, but kind of see where you're coming from and see where like the appeal of the movie is. It just didn't really connect with me.
Okay.
And also, like you mentioned, people having their qualms with Jeremy Piven. I could not stand Entourage when it was on. I didn't like that show for various reasons. And then watching PCU, I just had this weird thought throughout it. Like every time Jeremy Piven was on the screen, I'm like, he's got one of the most punchable faces I've ever seen.
He's so likable in that movie, though. PCU, he's the guy that brings them all together, Matt.
He is, but bring them all together to punch him in the face. I don't know, like in the middle of it, before I kind of had this realization, like he just looks kind of like a tool to me. A little bit, and like halfway through the movie, I was like, okay, I like the character, but I
just can't get past Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, I'm just like I Googled, why do I hate Jeremy Piven?
Yeah, and the movie also kind of involves a ridiculous plot, like a lot of these college movies do. Like, spoiler alert: George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic come play a concert at their house that they're trying to save,
which is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic, but it's ridiculous, but it's funny.
No more ridiculous than pleasuring a dog to put cream into an eclair, though.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean,
that's true.
Yeah.
Another thing that I kind of had to disconnect with it on, or another reason why I can really connect to it, is that this isn't a fault of the movie, because I mean it came out in '94, so it maybe didn't establish these tropes, but it kind of felt very like college movie, raunchy college movie kind of just archetypes, playing with different sects of people and having them kind of, I don't know what, there's a lot of elements in it that have been parodied in movies and TV shows depicting and parodying college movies, that it kind of soured it for me, because I've seen the satire version of this trope and of this genre so much that seeing the actual like movie of it is kind of I don't know, kind of just failed to connect with me.
Okay. Also, I think I maybe dropped the thought earlier, but I think it's kind of poignant in like modern times, because it's all about political correctness, and that's, with the advent of the internet, now everything is about, it's all about 140 character tweets, and it's about little audio clips where you just basically try to catch somebody saying something that's just a slightly politically incorrect, and then everyone loses their minds and they're ostracized, like Sean Penn at the Oscars.
Or have you been following the new controversy over who they've chosen for The Daily Show?
I just saw the headlines.
It's
about
so
this.
ridiculous. And to be perfectly honest, I've read some of the tweets. They're pretty hilarious.
They are funny.
Yeah. And it's, how often has Jon Stewart been politically incorrect? I mean, that's kind of the show. So I don't see why other one's making such a big deal out of it. But
were these recent tweets, or did someone dig them up?
I think they went back and dug these.
They dug them up. They're
God.
like 3-4 years old or older.
Okay, Internet.
Right, calm down.
It seems like you're trying to vet the new anchor for a fake news show.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, he's not taking over the Situation Room or something.
Exactly.
He's taking over a Comedy Central show. Calm down.
Granted, I mean, The Daily Show is really, really great.
It's a political monster. It really is, but it's still just a comedy show.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I think it has some themes in it from the early 90s that are very applicable today. It's just like, you know what, let's just calm down and just laugh at somebody cracking a joke.
Right.
It might be at somebody's expense, but screw it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's all punch Jeremy Piven in the face. Mike, have you seen PCU?
No, I have not.
Okay. It's okay.
Classic.
It was kind of the first college movie I actually was introduced to. Like, I remember because I caught it on, ironically enough, Comedy Central, because they used to show it all the time.
All the time on
yeah,
Comedy Central,
and that's where I watched it. And I just, when I was 11, 12, 13, or whenever, how old I was, I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie, and it really set up the whole college genre for me. So I don't know, kind of special place in my heart.
A little nostalgia there.
Right.
Yeah. Me too.
I can get on board with that. I understand. Yep. All right. Well, if you guys don't mind, I can jump over to mine.
I mind greatly.
Do it.
Well, God damn it. My first pick is Old School, which I tried to find my DVD of, but couldn't find it because it's still in boxes. But anyway, so it's been a couple years since I've seen this movie, but man,
Jeremy Piven's also in it.
He is.
Yeah, but he plays a character you kind of want to punch in the face anyway.
Yeah, and I was so bummed that while I was watching PCU last night, I was really excited to watch Old School because I could tell like I feel like casting him in Old School in that role was kind of like stunt casting as a play or as an homage or whatever to his role in PCU, because he's basically playing like kind of a David Spade-esque character.
Yeah.
Kind of the opposite of what he was in PCU.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have been able to rewatch Old School before recording, because I feel like I would have gained a little bit of a new appreciation for it. But this movie is so much fun, and is it the movie that started the Frat Pack?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
It's it's a really well constructed comedy, and it came at a time when R-rated comedy was like just really hitting its peak.
Yeah.
And it kind of just opened up the floodgates for just a ton of really great R-rated comedies in the early 2000s. And in its depiction of college life, it's funny to see it, to see these older people, I guess, these adults kind of trying to reclaim their youth in this college setting, and it's a fun, not reversal, but it's a fun slant on the college movie genre, because you're seeing the college students and the college lifestyle from a very different perspective from what you're normally accustomed to, and it really plays incredibly well and has a lot of great comedic timing. And also Vince Vaughn is awesome.
He is. That really the breakout for me with Vince Vaughn's. Like I was never impressed with Swingers, but Vince Vaughn and Old School,
I almost dropped Swingers on you because I love Swingers.
I don't. It's okay. I don't hate it. I just don't think it's as great as people sometimes make it out to be.
Gotcha.
But I get so tired of Vince Vaughn. You baby, your money. Okay, we get it. He's money, such money.
I've seen the movie once, and I just kind of was like, okay, sure.
I remember this movie being like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like you couldn't go down the halls of your high school without hearing, "You're my boy, Blue."
Blue, yep.
Yeah, or like, it's so good. Once
Grab
it hits
your green
lips.
hat.
Yeah.
And Will Ferrell sold the movie for me entirely. I mean, it was Will Ferrell's movie for me.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Not to.
I gotta say, the first time I saw this movie, I didn't get it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was such a fan of Will Ferrell on SNL because I was such a fan of SNL back then that I was like, kind of a snob about it. I was like, he's just trying so hard. Go back to SNL.
Sure.
I don't know. I thought it was just all right, and it's held up reasonably well, but I wouldn't call it my favorite of the bunch.
Huh.
I wouldn't call it my favorite either, but again, this one kind of holds a special place for me because this came out in 2003 during my freshman year of college. So to me, it was my college movie. So it was
Gotcha.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
I still quote the movie.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
You're my boy, Blue.
Yeah. Maybe Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know. I don't know if I'll have enough time.
I thought about that.
That was
when
a
I
thing.
went through Bed Bath & Beyond the other day.
Things not exactly street legal yet.
What'd you say, Mike?
I was just saying how, Matt, you mentioned that it came out at kind of, it like opened the floodgates for the wave of rated R movies that were rated R comedies that were super popular.
Yeah.
It was also a really popular, like the last of the really quotable movies. And I guess if you start in 04, 05, 06, 07 with like Wedding Crashers, 40-Year-Old Virgin, basically Judd Apatow movies.
Yeah.
Adam McKay movies are like the last of the great quotable movies. Or would you? I mean, are the Jump Street movies quotable? Kinda.
They have some good moments. I feel like that are quotable.
They do for sure, but I guess I'm referring to a culture change. We don't really quote movies all that much anymore.
I agree with you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Could that be because we're older and we're not as plugged into what is
No, it's them that are wrong.
Well, kids are stupid. Kids are dumb.
Those damn kids.
That's one of the things that I was going to bring up about Old School also, is that I kind of wonder if it's been a few years since I've watched this, and I kind of wonder if any of us will have if it'll resonate with us in a different way as we get older. Because I mean, we're all old as
on the wrong side of 25.
pretty much, yeah. And I kind of wonder.
I'm in my 30s.
Ew.
Ugh, God.
Well, people have been thinking I was 30 since I was 20, so.
Right.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
People just yell at me to put my clothes on. That's dumb. I'm
Your
kinda
mom?
mad. Wait, none?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Jeez, not anymore. Yeah. All this is getting cut.
You know what, though? I feel like that in 10 years from now, the premise of Old School would seem like a great idea. I'm just wanting to
For
go
us,
back.
to us.
When I'm 40 years old, I'd probably be thinking, man, I want to have an adult frat and getting drunk with my friends. That
Right.
sounds like an awesome time.
Yeah, I wonder how realistic that would be. Like, I mean, because Well, yeah, they kind of did that too with not being able to handle themselves as well as they could have when they were kids. Did they handle that in the movie?
Frank the Tank, almost the only one though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see here in like 10 years. Let's do it.
Old School too.
Well, come back to us in 10 years when we readdress college movies.
Yeah. When we get to OV101, we should do advanced college movies.
There it is.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's Old School. I really loved it, and I hope I can find the damn DVD so I can watch it again. Fekkes, do you want to go on your second one?
Yes. I'm actually surprised that no one had picked this one yet, but Animal House pretty much started the entire college genre culture.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Listeners, note Matt's inhalation at the moment.
oh man, do you not?
I never really connected to it. I watched it when I was kind of young.
Let's let him talk. Let's
Go
let
ahead,
the man
go ahead,
talk.
yes.
Anyway, so Animal House is the greatest movie of all time, Matt.
I thought that was Interstellar.
I bought that today. Anyway, no, but seriously, Animal House to me, I mean, this is the quintessential, frat house movie. I think, even though it was made in the late 70s, it's got that classic comedic everything in it to me. I don't even know how else to explain it because I'm baffled that you do not find this. You don't connect to it, but it has so many classic moments. The time they take all their dates over to the music house where the guy was singing for their frat party, and it gets awkward. Donald Sutherland's ass cheeks is when he reaches up into the cupboard to get his cereal.
Jesus. What I'll say about Animal House is that I watched it once when I was like a teenager, and I don't remember the circumstances of watching it, but I just remember thinking like, well, I don't really see what it's all cracked up to be. So maybe I need to revisit it, but I haven't. I've gone like 10, 15 years.
Well, this is another movie too where it hits for me because you can tell everyone's having such a good time. There's a lot of good mythology behind the movie itself too. Mm-hmm. Like if you've seen any of the documentaries behind it, they talk about how it was pretty much a frat house kind of atmosphere when they were filming this. Everyone is partying, having a good time, getting drunk. They would go to whatever campus they found that would actually let them film this movie. They would go and crash the frat parties there and get into fights with the actual college students.
Really?
So there's all kinds of good mythology behind the movie too. And it's the classic John Belushi stuff, which, if you watch any of his SNL stuff, Blues Brothers, it's amazing. He's got great comedic timing on the film for me. And classic moments like the horse in the dean's office and Kevin Bacon's first movie. It's kind of killing me right now that you don't connect with this.
Isn't Friday the 13th Kevin Bacon's first movie?
Was it? I thought it was Animal House. When did Friday the 13th come out?
1980.
78 would be Animal House.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I kind of echo Matt's sentiment.
Oh, Tiny throwing down the gauntlet.
It was the same circumstances. I saw it when I was a teenager, like 16 or something, and I don't know, for whatever reason.
Have you seen it since?
No.
I urge you to watch it again.
Okay, I probably need to. Yeah.
Tiny, we can have a viewing party in my apartment.
Oh, that's so fun.
I mean, it's got some of the most classic college movie, moments. The giant food fight in the cafeteria, the big battle between the pompous frats and the kind of the lesser frats. Man, I don't know. I feel like I'm a loner right now. Mike, can you save me on this?
Threesies, boys.
God damn it.
Yeah, you guys have said everything I've already said. I saw it probably. Who said when you were 17? Tiny, when you were, I probably saw it when I was 17. Like I remember my girlfriend that I was dating at the time. Her dad insisted that I watch it. So I found it in a bin. I love John Belushi. Blues Brothers is one of my favorites. I thought that I had to see this movie. And the movie is set in the 50s, correct? Or the 60s, early 60s?
50s, I believe. No.
Okay.
No, 60s.
The humor to me felt like it was from the 60s. It was just not hilarious. And I think there are so many other movies where like old movies that hold up.
Okay.
Man.
Sorry, Fekkes.
No, it's all right. And it actually surprises me that such a fan of Blues Brothers didn't give you. And I know it's kind of two different types of humor, but John Belushi. Yeah. Like his speech at the frat house to get everyone pumped and ready to go fight the dean. Did they give up when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so many classic movies that started the whole genre for me. You guys are kind of killing me right now. Animal House. I stand by it. It's my favorite college movie.
Oh, Animal House.
You are not alone.
Yeah.
You are not alone.
We are definitely
We're in the minority for
here.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Animal House. Mike, what do you got for us next?
The next movie I'll talk about is I saw in my college years, so we can kind of talk about, and you guys hopefully will get in on this too, the experience of watching a college movie in college and kind of maybe how it matched up. But my sophomore year, I saw Accepted, with Justin Long. And I feel like the movie is kind of an underrated gem. It's silly, stupid. It's in the vein of all the movies we've talked about before. And it's funny. It works. I really like early Jonah Hill. There's the moment where they're in like the creaky old house that the old place that they want to turn into their college. And like the walls fall down and he screams like a girl and he goes, "It would be really cool if you guys didn't tell anybody about this." So it's just that, like, you get a taste of what Jonah Hill was going to be later on. And, you know, the movie gets incredibly ridiculous later on where they're kind of granted their own college. But I don't know. Something about it clicked for me. Something about it I liked a lot.
Surprise courtroom drama.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, this is
what do you guys think of this?
Fantastic movie. I think I used the phrase earlier, but it's funnier than it has any right to be.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't see it for a while because I was like, I saw the previews. Like, that's going to be a dumb movie. That's probably not going to be funny. But the cast just elevated it so much. Justin Long, I don't know why people don't like him so much. I think he's awesome.
Do they not like him?
Yeah, I was gonna say, who doesn't like Justin
Really?
Long?
My brother hates him. I don't know why.
Really?
Yeah.
Hate
might be a strong word, but he doesn't like him.
It reminds me of the Family Guy bit where it's like Peter says something like, "I'm going to shove this down your throat," like Hollywood tries to shove Justin Long down our throats or something. I don't know. Anyway, continue. I fudged that.
I just think he's versatile. I mean, probably my favorite scene he's ever done is Zack and Miri make a porno.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
at the reunion.
Yeah. It's just so funny.
It's good.
But anyways, back to Accepted. He really just nailed the comedy in that movie. It feels like with between him and Jonah Hill that those two actors both have the ability and the talent to go off script and make it even better than it is. And I have a feeling there's a lot of that in this movie, and it just shows so much when you watch it. It's hilarious. And also Blake Lively.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's just sit and think about that for a little while. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was just gonna say.
I was hoping that you would say right then too.
Like the twins in 22 Jump Street.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
you go ahead, Mike.
to go back to my thesis about how this relates, and I saw this my sophomore year, so I had already started college. But what I think I loved so much about it was just that, the feeling of where am I, what am I going to do with my life that college kind of brings. And I was in my sophomore year still thinking the same thing that Justin Long's character Bartleby is thinking. And so I really connected with that on kind of an obvious level, but I appreciated it all the more for that.
Mm-hmm. His awkwardness really resonated with me, or at least his awkwardness in that one scene where he, I think it was it Blake Lively asks him about prom or something, and she's asking him to mow her lawn.
Yes.
Not a euphemism. But, like, that just resonated with me because I suck at talking to people. But, so one thing about the movie, it's funny because I think I saw this movie after I'd finished, USI, but not going to USI anymore. So I was kind of in between things. I was considering, I think this was before I took some classes at Ivy Tech, but there was a big, a lot of the people that don't like this movie or people find fault in the premise is that it kind of completely ignores the, fact that you can go to a community college and not pay that much money and transfer to a bigger school or something.
Right.
Like it just kind of just negates that entire route in terms of
like vocational school. And
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
It kind of completely ignores that. But I mean, if you can get past that, obviously, it's a really enjoyable, really fun movie, and it's surprisingly clever. Like, I don't know, they could have taken a lot of easy routes, but it kind of had this weird heart to it that, like Tiny said, it didn't really have any business having that kind of
Totally.
resonance.
Totally. Yeah. Also, Columbus Short. Whatever happened to Columbus Short?
I think he's done a lot of. I think he did a lot of the like Tyler Perry movies.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Or maybe he was in one or two of them.
Who is that?
He's the black guy.
Oh,
yeah, he's the buddy.
I didn't want to say
the buddy.
because I didn't want to sound racist, but okay.
He's the token black guy, the failed athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Huh. The guy that plays Darwin Dunlop Abernathy, he's playing the Penguin on Gotham.
Yes.
Good casting. I've only seen the first episode of Gotham, but I was like,
I gave up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Me too.
I never really felt the urge to watch the second episode or
there's no reason. I gave it much more chances than I should have, but
but seeing him in it, I was like, he kind of seems like he's doing the same thing that he didn't accepted, but
I like Lewis Black and Accepted. Lewis Black is great.
Oh, totally.
Agreed.
Totally.
Sure, he's very well suited for that role. I don't like him in general.
Oh, really? Oh, I think he's hilarious.
I think that his whole yelling shtick is a little overbearing and a little too much. Same kind of thing with the
his fingers freak me out a little bit.
He does.
He does weird things with his hands.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Yes.
I'm just waiting for him to have a stroke while he's doing it, and we're all thinking it's part of the bit, and he just dies.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that it's happened, and we all just haven't noticed it.
Right.
I think he's perfect on the Daily Show for the Back in Black segment.
Oh, this is one of my favorite segments.
Right. I like it. As far as stand-up goes, I can see how he's a little off-putting, but in that segment, he's just perfect because he's supposed to be like scolding us, and so it makes sense in that context.
Sure.
But his stand-up, I can understand how it's a little off-putting.
I don't know. It kind of reminds me of how I feel about Billy Eichner. I just can't get into anything he does. So let's move on to the next one. Is that all we got on Accepted?
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, Tiny, what do you got for us?
My next one is another classic. It is 1984's Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds.
This is another movie that has a nostalgic aspect to it for myself because I used to watch the edited version on Comedy Central all the time.
Me too.
Yeah. I didn't see like the actual like full rated R version until I was substantially older. I didn't realize there were so many boobs in it and stuff. But yeah, this is another classic movie. I think it kind of rode the coattails of Animal House a little bit. It was only 6 years after Animal House. It's a different movie because it focuses on the I can't really say much about Animal House because I haven't seen it in so long, but it focuses on the nerds, which is a little bit different. But it's a funny movie. I mean, it's pretty stupid. It has that classic ridiculous plot where it's like they win a talent show at the end, and that's the big climactic end. It's just the stupid ass song at the end. It's really dumb. So it's kind of anticlimactic in that respect. But I don't know. It's just kind of a fun movie. I haven't seen it in so long. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but yeah, fun movie. How have you guys watched it much?
I watched it a couple years ago, and I was just kind of like, sure, yeah. It's kind of the PCU effect on me.
Okay.
No one was really punchable in it, but it was, it was okay. It was goofy, but it was a fun watch.
Yeah.
I agree. I liked it. I'm kind of with Tiny on this. It's got the nostalgia factor going for me. And growing up kind of a huge nerd, I kind of related a lot to the actual characters in the film. And
yeah,
I don't know. I thought it was fun, albeit there was the awkward kind of date rape scene in it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but other than that, that's a fun movie. It's one of those check your brains at the door movies, but I mean, what college movie isn't, to be honest? So.
Right.
I was really cool growing up, so
no, I know
it just didn't resonate with me.
I mean, I didn't see why the popular guys got such a hard time in that movie.
Right. I know, we were really cool. We were really,
And I loved Ogre. Ogre's great.
Yeah, Ogre.
Mike, how do you feel?
Yeah. It was a WGN movie. A WGN movie is, I guess, another word for a Saturday afternoon movie.
Yeah.
That I'm not even sure if I've ever seen the whole thing in one sitting. You know what I mean? But I've just seen all of it in parts.
Wow.
And I always kind of liked it a little, but that's really all I got about it.
Yeah, I think it's a good college movie, though.
I agree.
Yeah. Stars, I think at the time, a pretty unknown John Goodman as the coach.
Yeah, that's right. He was the coach.
Yeah, and Anthony Edwards would go on to ER.
Right.
I think they kind of played up in the movie. They kind of play up the nerdiness a little bit too much. Like it's a little over the top.
Yeah, I think that was the reason why I couldn't really get into it.
With the Tri-Lambs coming into play too.
Yeah.
Or no, they were the Tri-Lambs, the Phi Mu, who they called the Phi Mu's, I believe, the sorority.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But it's kind of funny how they, the nerds were trying to find a frat house that they could join, but nobody wanted them except the Tri-Lambs, which is a traditionally black. Isn't that's the plot, right? Is
it's traditionally black frat.
It's like they don't discriminate for any reason. It's like, well, we kind of have to let them in. It's just kind of funny.
Well, yeah, I agree. I love that plot point. But.
Yeah, they go into the frat house for the first time, and how they have like all the different classes, the pictures up on the wall. It's just entirely black guys. It's just pretty funny.
Jeez.
So, it's a really dumb movie, but kind of fun.
Sounds like that college needs an RFRA act passed. Anyway, that was
so topical.
Topical,
really
Matt.
I know, right? Yeah. So we should probably kind of get to step in because Fekkes needs to get out of here fairly soon. Anything else on Revenge of the Nerds, guys?
The sequels are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen the sequels.
Yeah, I mean,
really bad.
Cool. So my last one, this will be quick. I just watched it today on HBO Go, actually. Dead Man on Campus from 1998 with Mark Paul Gosselaar.
Yeah.
And is it Tom Everett?
Tom Everett Scott.
Yeah. Okay, Mike, I know you love that thing you do.
It's a great movie.
I love it so.
Yeah, and I've never seen it and everything.
Oh.
And
oh wow.
Yeah. And isn't he also in Dead Poets
Gap
Society?
movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he's in Dead Poets Society.
Yeah. Both those movies are Gap movies for me. He is fucking horrible in Dead Man on Campus.
Really?
He was just irritating the hell out of me the entire time. And the movie isn't really that good. Like, there's not really much to say about it. It's about two roommates in college who they find that they're about to flunk all their classes and everything. And so they hatch a plan to get a suicidal roommate so that when he kills himself, they'll get straight A's for the semester.
Right.
And it came out like right around the same time that the movie Dead Man's Curve, which was later renamed The Curve with Matthew Lillard, that had a similar premise.
Does that have a song like Blink-182 did an old 50s cover for the soundtrack of that movie?
Dead Man on Campus or The Curve?
The Curve.
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember that was kind of the same premise, but it was a thriller, or so I don't know much about it, but Dead Man on Campus, it's an hour and a half movie. About an hour or about 45 minutes, a halfway point of the movie is when they decide to get a roommate to that's suicidal.
God, and is that long into the movie?
Really? Damn.
Yeah, I was like, this is just really a mess.
I don't remember. I've seen the movie, but I don't remember it taking that long to get to that point.
Yeah, and granted, the first 45 minutes is filled with a lot of just kind of fun, like, college stuff. Like, Tom Everett Scott's really
date rape, hazing.
Yeah, but it just wasn't that good. The standout, or the most memorable thing about it is that it came out in '98, which is I don't know when Saved by the Bell ended, but it was kind of it seemed like an interesting role for Mark Paul Gosselaar to take, because it's kind of a very similar to Zach Morris role, but it's like Zach Morris as a pothead and as a burnout,
a little darker Zach Morris.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. It's funny to me that the legacy that Dead Man on Campus leaves behind is that it's Mark Paul Gosselaar's Showgirls, essentially.
What's funny? That came out around the same time as an even lesser known movie starring James Van Der Beek, The Rules of Attraction, which is also a college movie where he kind of plays a burnout.
Yeah.
That failed. Similar trajectory type movies.
That's based on a Bret Easton Ellis novel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also. Tiny, don't you really like that movie?
I do like it, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I really like Bret Easton Ellis.
Sweet. Yeah. Cool. Well, that about does it for our conversation on college movies. I had to think of what...
Can we do really quick just a round robin of the ones we couldn't get to?
Sure. Yeah. I don't have any off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll do mine, and we can...
Pitch Perfect is one of mine.
Talk about Scream 2. And we discussed about just how much we talk about the Scream movies probably seemed a little superfluous, maybe inappropriate. Mm-hmm. But it's very college.
Yeah.
Also, Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. Which I love. Pitch Perfect, which I watched with you, Matt, which was just a treat.
Oh, yeah.
Love that movie.
Monsters University.
Yes.
I so underwhelmed with that movie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Monsters Inc. was fantastic. I just didn't think that Monsters University hit the mark. But hey.
Also, Drumline, a surprise movie that I liked a lot.
That was actually kind of a fun movie.
I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either.
Sorority Row, a horror movie, takes place on college campus. A Beautiful Mind, which we didn't talk about it. You don't really think about that being that might be a stretch one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then another possible stretch one, but those of you listeners who listen to us over the summer know of The Waterboy, which takes place on a college. So, Matt,
you could go Goodwill Hunting too if you really wanted. Like Goodwill Hunting could be really considered a college-ish movie.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah.
Social Network.
Yeah, Social Network more so than Goodwill Hunting probably.
Yep.
Yeah, so that, cool. Anything else on college movies?
Nope.
Cool. All right, well, let's move on to Potpourri. If this is your first time listening, this is the section of the podcast where we just kind of talk about whatever we're into, stuff we've watched, stuff we're looking forward to, news that's broken, stuff like that. Anything we want as long as it smells good, like my new apartment, which I have a candle warmer going, compliments of a friend of mine that gave it to me as a housewarming gift. So, for Potpourri, Fekkes, since you are our guest, what do you got for us?
Today, actually, before the podcast, I went to go see It Follows. It's a horror movie that came out this year, and to be perfectly honest, nowhere on my radar. I just happened to find it while searching for a movie on Rotten Tomatoes to go see, because I haven't seen a movie in the theater since Chappie. And I'm pretty jaded about horror movies just because there's just an abundance of crap out there.
Absolutely.
But I was shocked at how good this movie was.
Nice.
It very original premise. I'm not going to go too much into it for those who have not yet to see it, but it does a great job pacing. It does a good job of keeping it tense. There's one cheap scare, and you almost have to expect that sort of thing. But it does such a good job of keeping the viewer kind of tense and at the edge of the seat. And what really struck me the most about this movie was the music, the score for the film. It was very, very much old 70s, 80s slasher film kind of score to it, and it works perfectly with this movie. And I'm going to say this. I haven't talked to anyone yet that has seen this movie, but there was one thing that it bugged me more than it should have. I have no idea what time this movie took place.
Really?
The TVs that they watch are old, like 70s TVs, but like there's a police car, and I know this just because of my profession, but I know that's a 2011 Crown Victoria with LED lights, and I know that wasn't present in the 70s. There's the way they dress is kind of taken back to the 70s, and I want to talk to somebody about this movie so I can, because everyone probably thinks I'm crazy right now, and there's one character has a device. It's kind of cell phone-ish type of thing, but it's not a cell phone. She's like reading a book on it, but it's not like an iPad or a tablet or anything like that. I let it distract me way too much away from the movie, which it's a fantastic movie, and I get back to that. And it's just such a surprise, because especially when a horror movie comes out in March, you think, well, this is filler until the summer movies come out. But and I feel bad that it's coming out this time, because I really think it's getting overlooked, and it's a brilliant movie. I mean, it's not a perfect movie by any stretch of the imagination, but as far as horror movies go, one of the best I've seen in recent memory.
Wow.
I don't want to say too much about the premise, but it's go see it, give it a shot.
Very high marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually just recently, like a few days ago, watched the trailer for It Follows, and like you, it was not on my radar at all. A friend of mine told me, like, watch this trailer, and I was like, okay, cool. So I watched it, and I'm so happy that you said that about the score and the aesthetic of it, because the trailer was it felt like such a nostalgia throwback to older horror movies, the way that they were marketed. Like I can't remember what some of the taglines were, but it was like, it doesn't do that, it does this, it does. It's like, it just felt like,
doesn't give up.
Yeah, I was just like, I need to see this movie.
Yeah, it was so much better than I anticipated, just because I have such a low regard for modern day horror films.
Right.
But I was completely shocked by it, and I'm so sad that it's not really getting the buzz that it really deserves.
Right. Cool. So that's It Follows. Mike, do you want to go next?
Yeah. I watched a movie in New Orleans over my little break. Enemy came out, I think, at the end of 2013. Definitely not 2015. Might have been early 2014. I'm sorry I didn't look that up. I don't really care. You can look it up if you want. Anyway, Enemy stars Jake Gyllenhaal as a man who. Let me go back. It's a twisty plot. And I watched it and I read about it, and nobody's really sure exactly what's going on, so it's kind of one of those type of movies. But the basic premise is that he plays a character that's kind of a loner. He's a teacher. He kind of talks about like the monotony in his job. And so he talks to someone who gives him like a recommendation for a movie to watch, and he goes home and he sees somebody who looks exactly like himself in this movie. And so Jake Gyllenhaal also plays this actor who does movies, and basically it's about these two guys meeting. And so, to not spoil any plot things, I'll kind of end there and talk more about just the mood of the piece, and also Gyllenhaal's performance. The mood is awesome. It's not that kind of stark white, dark blue thing that Nightcrawler has, but it's that eerie. It's like got a mustard yellow tone to the entire thing, where you're kind of on edge and kind of wondering what exactly is going on. They do a lot of just kind of panning shots of the city in which he lives that kind of look foggy and hazy in this yellow, and it's very uneasy, very unsettling kind of look. As far as Jake Gyllenhaal, it's almost as good as Nightcrawler in terms of just an electrifying, uneasy performance that kind of it makes me laugh again when I think about what if Prince of Persia was a success and he didn't do movies like Enemy. It's a thinker, and I'm still thinking about it about a week later, and I can't wait to watch it again, knowing what I know now. So, high recommend for sure.
Nice.
Now that you're describing the movie, I remember seeing this preview and really wanting to see it, and I don't remember it hitting theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Is it on DVD, or did you go to it?
I found it somewhere. I watched it somewhere.
Oh.
I watched it.
I think it had a very limited release. It is available on Amazon Prime. I assume, Mike, that's what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I watched it on Amazon Prime.
If I were happen to see this in a movie store, would it be a blind buy, you think?
Ooh. What's your rating below blind buy?
The scales changed a little bit. Buy it new. Buy it new. So buy it full price.
Okay, buy it full price.
Okay. But
Yeah.
buy it.
Which is $9.99 on Amazon.
Well, there you go.
Interesting. I've really wanted to see this movie, and I've been kind of hesitant because I've heard some things about it. Not necessarily spoilerific things, but kind of just I've heard there's elements of it that would make me squeamish, given how I am averse to certain things in the world. Vague. Mike, as a quick tangent, do you remember that time that
So wait.
Oh.
Are you saying you know about a particular uneasy thing in the movie and you hesitate to see the movie because of that thing that makes you uneasy in the real world?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Mike,
Yeah, that is very uneasy. I jumped at a certain part of the movie.
Oh, man. Now we got to see this.
Yeah, I'm intrigued now.
and really quick, Mike, do you remember when we were at IHOP? Like it was at, I think it was like the last
Yes.
night, and we saw that guy that looked just like me.
Of course, never forget.
Man, that was weird. I was so convinced that I was a time traveler.
Turned out it was Ray.
I have a picture somewhere that's I think we took a picture of me, and it was him, me and a girl at a booth, and I'm kind of sitting there pointing behind me, and I'm pointing right at him. It's freaky.
I remember getting that.
Yeah.
That picture. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Good times. So Tiny, what's your potpourri?
My potpourri is the recent HBO documentary called Going Clear, Scientology and the Prison of Belief. This just aired on Sunday. It's Tuesday right now, so this has only been out for about 48 hours. But if you get the chance, if you have HBO or HBO Go or whatever, definitely check this out when they put it up, because I don't know if it's for everybody, but I'm really fascinated by religion, and I have a whole podcast about it, the secular perspective. But I'm just really fascinated by religion, and the most interesting ones are the new ones. And Scientology is only about 50 or 60 years old. And it's this documentary is very unique. I think over the past 30 years or so, it feels like the public has sort of gotten tiny little leaks of information about what the inner workings of Scientology are really like. But this documentary is really all inclusive, because it includes interviews and information from 3 out of the 4 top people at the Church of Scientology from the 1980s till the mid 2000s.
Oh wow.
They all left the church. And I think they were just so disenfranchised by what happened to them, they just kind of went into hiding and they didn't really talk to anybody. But then there's an actor who was a part of the church who he basically found all these guys and got them together and was like, look, you need to open up so that people will realize the fault of their ways. The actor is Jason, I think it's Behe. I don't know if that's how you say his last name. He hasn't been in a lot, but and so it includes like I said, it's like these top lieutenants of Scientology left, and they basically opened up and did tell-alls about what it's like and their religion. So the whole movie is a really, really scathing indictment of Scientology. It's substantially worse than anybody thought it was.
Wow.
I mean, it's just amazing the information that you find out. The documentary itself is done pretty well. The filmmaker is Alex Gibney, who's famous for some other documentaries.
He did Mea Culpa. Mea Maxima Culpa.
Mea Maxima Culpa, there we go.
Yeah, Silence in the House of God.
Yeah,
which you can hear us talk about choppily in our Pickled Gallbladder episode.
Yes, yeah. So the guy knows what he's doing. He knows how to make a movie. He's good at it. So as far as a documentary, it's shot really well, and I like the style of it and everything, but as per usual, the information that you get is the star of the movie. It's really incredible. I definitely recommend it.
Nice. How does it compare to Mea Maxima Culpa?
I think Mea Maxima Culpa is a little bit better, a little bit more shocking. But this is, I don't know. This is kind of. I enjoyed this one a little bit more, just personally. I don't know why.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I haven't seen Mea Maxima Culpa in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is available on HBO Go now. I might watch that.
Going Clear is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been dying to see it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. There's also a book written by Lawrence Wright that the documentary is based on. He's also featured in the documentary. I haven't read that, but they cram so much information into this documentary. I'm sure most of it's in the movie. So, yeah, check it out.
Nice. Awesome. That's Going Clear. And finally, I'll wrap up the potpourri section with so I just moved into this new apartment. I moved in on Friday, and I spent way too much time, and this may be more suitable for its own standalone episode topic, and we can come back to that at some point. But I found myself on Thursday. I moved in on Friday. On Thursday, I kind of felt like very hurried to watch a movie, and because I knew that I would have to watch a movie before I moved out from my parents' place, because it would carry that wave of like, oh my God, that's the last movie I watched there. So I picked Tommy Boy because it's about a ne'er-do-well man-child who grows up. And
you mean ne'er-do-well?
Ne'er-do-well, yeah. Did I say never-do-well?
You did.
Yeah.
Ne'er-do-well.
I'm sorry. That was douchey. Whatever.
No.
I'm trying to stop doing that.
About dumb man become man movie. No, it's about he grows up in the process and stuff. And I thought, that there were a lot of different movies I wanted to watch, but I had them all packed away. And so I was really just confined to like Yahoo, or not Yahoo, but Netflix and Hulu and their selection, and Amazon. Not even Amazon, actually, just Netflix and Hulu. But so that's what I watched. And then I watched my inaugural movie in this apartment was The Shawshank Redemption, which it's just a quick anecdote. It's one of my favorite movies.
Escaping prison.
Exactly. Like I mentioned it in the pod chat, and Tiny was like, yeah, class up the joint, because I was like, this is the first movie I watched in the apartment. I was like, yes, it is totally due to the quality of the movie and not the fact that it's about a guy who spent nearly 2 decades in prison before breaking out and escaping. Not to say that living with my parents was a prison, but had to have that in there. So anyway, the whole point of bringing this up for Potpourri is that I thought that it was an interesting look into my brain and how I watch movies and stuff like that, because I kind of find occasionally I'll find these things. I'll seek out movies and shows and stuff specifically to have that kind of emotional resonance with it, and to kind of view it with a different perspective that is more a part of what I'm going through with my life, or a certain aspect of my life at the time. I think that's an interesting kind of comfort, I guess, or it's like a
subconscious choice.
Kind of. It's just more often than not, it's a very conscious decision. Yeah, so I just thought that was an interesting. Maybe we can do a topic later on about this kind of phenomenon, or when I can more clearly define it. And then one last thing, when I was getting everything moved in, and my brother wanted to watch something, we got the TV set up and everything, and we're kind of helping out, and he's helping me out and stuff. And we had like food. He was like, "Yeah, let's watch something." So I threw on Community, randomly picked an episode. This is subconscious Tiny. Randomly picked season 3, the episode Remedial Chaos Theory, and the first, like, I completely spaced that the setup for that episode is that the gang is at Chor and Abed's new apartment. And just completely unintentional. So
that's funny.
Yeah, so that's a window into my soul and how I pick movies.
It's funny, for the listeners, we're sitting here looking at Matt's TV, and he's using Chromecast, and he has an itinerary up on his television. Yeah. It's pretty cool. But it says, for Potpourri, it says Matt, Tommy Boy and the Shawshank Redemption. It just makes me laugh because the original title of Stephen King's short is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. So it makes me think it's a remake. It's a modern remake, and it's a Tommy Boy poster on the wall instead of Rita Hayworth.
Oh my god, that is brilliant.
That's great.
I love that. All right, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
That about closes us out. So, Fekkes, once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. I always love it.
Yeah. And we'll hope to have you back again.
And thank you for protecting and serving Speedway.
Yes.
Even though you just moved out of Speedway.
Yeah, that's true. So, let it burn.
Some men just want to watch the world burn.
For context to our listeners, I literally, my apartment complex is literally on the line separating Speedway and Indianapolis. So.
He could pee from his balcony onto Speedway.
I can and do. All right, so anything else, guys?
Nope.
That'll do it.
Sweet. All right, well, thanks for listening, guys. We're going to throw it to the pre-recorded outros, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
This is Matt Hurt at Obsessive Viewer on Twitter.
This is Tiny at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter.
Hang on, I'm going to check the recording. I'm sorry. I just need to make sure.
That was the best intro you guys have ever done.
I had a moment where I was like last second, like, do I cut or not? And then I didn't want to interrupt you and be a total dick, but I think I ended up doing that.
You did? Yeah.
It was like right when I finished at Obsessive Tiny on Twitter. I need to.
God damn it.
That's hilarious.
Should have kept it.
Yep. All right. Checking the recording now.
As always, loyal listeners, thank you for listening to the Obsessive Viewer podcast. And thank you, of course, to Loud Like for providing our awesome opening theme music. Their first EP, their first of a few actually coming out in the next few months. Check them out. Anyway, it's called Mistakes We Must Make and features our theme song and a clips of events. Make sure that you rate and review us on iTunes after you listen to this episode. It helps us out a lot, and it gives us the ability to say, hey, people like us. Also, please like our Facebook page at facebook.com/theobsessiveviewer, and you can follow each of us on Twitter. You can find Matt at Obsessive Viewer, Tiny is Obsessive Tiny, and me, Mike, I'm at I am Mike White on Twitter. You can also check out the blog at obsessiveviewer.com, where all three of us, but mostly Matt, review movies and TV shows and talk about all kinds of things. It's kind of the written form of this podcast. You can also check out Obsessive Book Nerd, which has book reviews and commentary on the evolving world of reading. And also check out Tiny's The Secular Perspective, which is a podcast exploring the concepts of faith, religion, and existence from the perspective of secular hosts. If you have any thoughts on the podcast in general, or this particular podcast you just listened to, or even suggestions for future podcasts, please email us individually at Matt, Tiny, or Mike at obsessiveviewer.com, or you can just email the podcast directly as a whole, kind of directed to all three of us, at podcast@obsessiveviewer.com. Again, thank you so much for listening. We love you. Be excellent to each other.